Well, we had a Game 7. And we have a worthy champion. Here we go. Do I have my gizmo here, Jack?
The Thunder have taken the NBA by storm. For the first time, the NBA champion resides in Oklahoma City. The storybook season is complete.
Storybook is right, and I'll say this. I mean, that's an easy team to root for. It's a great sports story. In this era of super teams and dream teams and these kind of things, this was not that at all. Half a decade ago, Jack, you know this very well, they stripped their roster back to the studs. I mean, they took this thing to the foundation and rebuilt it. Sam Presti, their general manager, started in summer of 2019 when they pulled off the Paul George trade with the Clippers, sent 5 first-round draft picks, Danilo Gallinari and Shea SGA coming back from the Clippers for Paul George. Mm-hmm. That was the beginning of it. They also signed an undrafted player out of Arizona State named Lou Dort, fellow Canadian, to SGA.
People forget those two guys were playing in the bubble.
Yeah.
SGA and Dort. They lost the series to Houston.
Yeah, both Canadians. In 2020, they named their former G League coach and current assistant, at the time assistant, Mark Daignault, as their head coach. And then for 2 seasons, from 2020 to 2023, they won a grand total of 46 games and lost 108. They were bad. This is where you strip it back. But then came the 2022 NBA draft. Sam Presti began to make those first-round draft picks pay off. Snagged Chet Holmgren with the first pick. And then Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara with pick 12, which was a great find. A lot of people thought he'd be a later-round draft pick in the first round. They got him 12th. He has become a cornerstone. He then traded Josh Giddey to the Bulls for Alex Caruso. Last season, Jack, they added the free agent big man Isaiah Hartenstein on a free agent deal, which you said at the time, that could be the difference maker to get size, to go with Chet Holmgren and another big man down low. They also, remember they traded Derek Lively to the Mavericks for Cason Wallace last trade deadline. Well, this is the formation and the building of a roster. And Oklahoma City was the best team. I mean, it took a minute, right? You could lose 108 games over 2 years, but then you start to win and you start to put the pieces in place around SGA. And in the last, you now go 68 wins in the regular season, 16 more in this postseason. Finished the year overall 84-21, and you're the youngest team by age to win the NBA title in nearly 50 years. 48 years ago, 1977. What was it? Portland Trailblazers were younger by age.
Bill Walton.
Bill Walton, yes, that's how long ago. And so you got this young team that's built together. Either when you say organically built, either through the draft or through shrewd trades and shrewd moves by Sam Presti. And then you've got SGA, right? You've got the straw that stirs the drink. In the last 60 years entering this season, only 3 players all time had swept the big 3 NBA awards in a season. In baseball, they call it the Triple Crown. It's the NBA, the regular season MVP, the league scoring title, and then take home the MVP of the finals in the same year. After we hear from the commissioner, I'll tell you the other 3 players that have done that. But that's quite incredible. Here is Adam Silver.
25 years, the same player won the regular season MVP, the scoring title, and now he's your finals MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Shai, you've always said that you wanted to be that guy that your team depended on, and now you're an NBA Finals MVP. How were you made for this moment?
A lot of hard work, a lot of hours in the gym. This isn't just a win for me. This is a win for my family. This is a win for my friends. This is a win for everybody that was in my corner growing up. This is a win for the fans, the best fans in the world.
All right, so there you go. There is SGA. He's pulled off the feet, and the players who have done that ahead of him, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, and Shaquille O'Neal. That's the list.
Heard of him.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And he's 26 years old, and that exclusive club, to say the least. In the finals of Game 7, he scored 29 points. He dished out 12 assists. He was tremendous last night.
Fantastic game from him.
He was really, really good. And Gilgeous-Alexander enters that truly exclusive company, capturing the MVP of the finals, and rightfully so. But as we say, where there's good, there's going to be bad and ugly. And that came midway through the first quarter last night. Yeah. The Pacers star Tyrese Halliburton off to a great start in Game 7. He energized his team. He nailed 3 big threes. And you could see the belief in this Pacers team, this refused to lose, never stay die Pacers team has been an underdog in every series and every game this finals. And it felt like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to rise up. And then halfway through the quarter, he's been playing through an ankle injury that turned into a calf strain. And we were like, man, let's hope something terrible doesn't happen. And what do you know? He went to explode towards the lane. Mm-hmm. His right leg gave in, and it's a ruptured Achilles, according to his father. And you could see it snap up through his leg, a brutal injury, and it just took the wind out of the Pacers. Now, they fought and kept it and actually led at the half, but in the third quarter, the game really flipped. The Thunder ratcheted up their defense and outscored Indiana by 14 in the third and cruised to the 12-point win. But as much as we'll appreciate the Thunder and what they are as an organically built organization, Pacers are the same. And man, they're running these playoffs with the buzzer beaters and the refusal to lose. You'll remember that too, even in a losing effort. You rarely remember the runner-up. But I think as a fan, if you were paying attention to these playoffs, it'll be hard to forget Tyrese Halliburton, Rick Carlisle, and these Pacers. They were worthy.
Yeah, I mean, the way I said it to my friends watching last night, I'd watch this Pacers documentary before I'd watch this Thunder documentary. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah,
well, let's hear Rick Carlisle after the game. There's still going to be those who criticize him for not getting more offensive opportunities for Pascal Siakam. Then that's fair. But here is Rick Carlisle on the brutal situation with his star point guard.
This was a great series. I'm so proud of our players. I'm so proud of our organization. Our fans showed up big time tonight. It was really moving. What happened with Tyrese is just all of our hearts dropped. But he will be back. I don't have any medical information about what may or may not have happened, but he'll be back in time, and I believe he'll make a full recovery. So,
all right. So Rick Carlisle obviously devastated. Pacers got it to a Game 7, had the lead, and then their star goes down, and he's on crutches as the Thunder win the championship and roll to their first of what could be several. We'll see. So not soon to forget these Pacers. But how about this, Jack? You know this because you're a basketball encyclopedia. How eerily similar was that to 2019?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
With Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, he's playing for the Warriors at the time, and he's playing through a calf strain that he suffered, and he suffered a calf injury against the Rockets in the Western Conference Finals. And there he is in the finals against Toronto playing on that calf, and they got him back in the game. Everybody wondered if you should take this risk. He scored 11 points in a first-quarter effort, hit 3 threes, was red hot, and the next thing you know, his leg gave out, and his Achilles pops. And he was 30 at the time, and Tyrese Halliburton's only 25, but so eerily similar that you're worried, like, oh no. I would also say Halliburton wears jersey number 0. So does Jason Tatum.
So does Damian Lillard.
They've all taken their Achilles out here in these postseason. They're all zeros. Like, don't wear a 0. I don't know. But so Halliburton only 25. He'll be back, but he won't play next year. You have to know that. But that leads you back to Kevin Durant, who, as right around lunchtime yesterday, word broke that the 36-year-old is coming back to Texas for the first time as a pro. Of course, played in one season with the Longhorns, was a college and national player of the year. Word came down right about lunchtime yesterday that the Phoenix Suns, after all the discussion, are trading Durant to the Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th pick in Wednesday night's draft, and 5 second-round picks as part of the trade. Deal will not officially go through until right after the 4th of July because of a restriction in Jalen Green's rookie contract extension that he signed last October. But the second-round picks will stretch all the way to 2032. But in the end, Kevin Durant is going to be a Rocket. And listen to Shams Charania from ESPN. He broke it down on the pregame show last night of the NBA Finals, how it all went down and who it came down to. The Spurs were in it. The Rockets were in it, and the Heat were in it. Here's Shams.
All right, let's address this quickly. I do cover the Houston Rockets. I'm the sideline reporter for the Rockets, so I've been bothering Shams all week. But this is a big deal. How did this come about, Shams?
So over the last several weeks, we've been talking about his potential landing spots, and it really came down to his preferred destinations. Houston Rockets, the Miami Heat, and the San Antonio Spurs. I gave you that look off camera. You made great points,
the viral
but
one.
I knew the Spurs were not really going to be a threat there. So it really came down to the last 24 hours, Vanessa, to the Miami Heat and the Rockets. And it was really a bidding war at the end of the day. Who was going to offer the most? And at the end of the day, the Rockets offer, with the prolific score of Jalen Green, him and Devin Booker, one of 3 backcourt mates now averaging 20 points per game or more. Dillon Brooks, we know the Suns have been all about toughness, grit, culture, and Dillon Brooks brings that. And then you get the number 10 overall pick. And so the timing, why now? Well, listen, the NBA draft is just a few days away on Wednesday. So you get that number 10 pick. Now you can start figuring out who you want to draft at that position. So Kevin Durant's voice played a massive part in this. other teams that maybe weren't on his preferred list, that were considering trading for him, maybe thought twice based on how he felt about that situation. And why did that matter? He was in the expiring year of his deal. $54.7 million, and as Chump knows as a former player, when you're in your last year of your deal, you have some amount of leverage, some say over what your future could be, especially if you're someone like Kevin Durant.
All right, so Kevin Durant kind of controlled this. He turned down a trade to the Timberwolves for whatever the reasons, and of course he was actually shocked, according to the people close to Kevin Durant, this at the trade deadline when word that they may shop him and trade him to Golden State came up. And he didn't want to do that. Well, now he was willing to move. He comes to Houston, and let's be fair about Kevin Durant. He's 36 years old. He's not the player he once was, but man, he still averaged 27 points a game last year, and hit 53% of his shots, 43 from behind the three-point line. And if you're a Rockets fan, which you are, Jack, I mean, you're now building around a young group of. You've got Alperen Şengün, and you've got Amen Thompson and Jabari Smith, and Fred VanVleet is still there, and now you've got Kevin Durant at 36 years old. You didn't give up some of those cores that you wanted. You did give up Jalen Green and pick 10. What were your overall thoughts on the give and the get?
Perfect trade.
Oh, yeah. Perfect trade.
I thought it would even take the Phoenix 2027 pick, which is going to be very valuable, but it didn't. You basically got him for a negative asset in Jalen Green, a player I like, but is kind of on a big contract in Dillon Brooks. You include him to make the finances work. You have to match salaries in the NBA. And the number 10 pick, which, frankly, the Rockets did not need another young mouth to feed. The number 3 pick in the draft last year did not play for Houston last year. And so certainly whoever it would have been at 10, maybe even Maluach, the guy from Duke, could fall all the way down there. But I'm not upset about giving any of that stuff up. Dillon Brooks is a good defender, good 3-and-D wing.
What's the deal with Jalen Green? He's a good player that's not going to be a superstar?
He to me,
streaky.
Yeah, and like a high-volume shooting guard is either like the best thing or the worst thing you can have, because on the high end, it's Michael Jordan, it's Kobe Bryant, but on the low end, it's Jalen Green.
Who, you never know if that shot's going to come.
Yeah,
and you're going to build around Amen Thompson. Alperen Şengün, the big man. I think Jabari Smith can be a really good player out of Auburn
especially
for them.
with Kevin Durant now coming in and teaching him a few things.
Yeah.
He's already a great.
Well, look, Kevin Durant made his 15th All-Star team this past season, 26 points, 6 boards, over 52% from the field, almost 53. He's still one of the most lethal and efficient scorers in the game, which is something Houston needs. And the trade represents the latest seismic shakeup in the Western Conference. In the last 5 months, Luka Doncic went to the Lakers in the Anthony Davis trade. De'Aaron Fox went from Sacramento to the Spurs. Jimmy Butler went to the Warriors. On Wednesday night, the Mavericks are going to select Cooper Flagg with the first overall pick, who is going to be an immediate impact franchise cornerstone. And now the Rockets land Kevin Durant. And, you heard him mention, Shams, that the Spurs were in it. But, the Spurs have said this. Kevin Durant, they could have gotten in on that. But their long-term vision is to have a championship roster in San Antonio when Victor Wembanyama hits his prime.
Yeah, that's smart.
And he's only 21. It's kind of thinking about what the Oklahoma City just did. Mm-hmm. You don't want to say it's too early, but it might be too early just yet. And Kevin Durant's probably not going to get them over the hump. And how many years does Kevin Durant have? A year or two? 2 years max before he's hitting 40 years old, for crying out loud. But with Wemby, De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, they're probably going to draft Wednesday night with the second pick. Ron Harper's kid out of Rutgers, who's, he's going to be another cornerstone guy. Stephon Castle. That's a core that can start competing for championships in 2027, certainly in 2028 when Wemby hits his prime. And, SGA, we just saw him do it at 26. Your prime is usually about 25, 26 years old. And that's when you start looking at Wemby. And I know you got to be patient, but to give up assets to bring in Kevin Durant, was that going to get them there? The Rockets are a little bit further along, and they take the swing with KD, and KD wanted to be. Let's not forget, one of the top assistant coaches for Ime Udoka in Houston is Royale Ivey.
Yes.
Who's one of Kevin Durant's best buddies. Played with him at Texas, and that'll be a great chemistry. DJ Augustine is in the Rockets front office.
A couple old teammates for him, and Jeff Green and Steven Adams.
Yeah, so I think that'll be a very comfortable place for him. Young team that he can be around. Look, Kevin Durant hadn't done a lot of winning lately, and that's. There's some legacy conversation there for him, but he's coming back to Texas. It'll be kind of cool to see him there in Houston. At least he didn't go to Miami. He went to Houston. That's fun. I like that. We can, and now you got Cooper Flagg and the Mavericks. You've got Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox and company in the Spurs, and now you got Kevin Durant and this young group in Houston. That makes the NBA in the Triangle of Texas a lot of fun. I would say. You're good with it, though? I mean, we're going to have a draft coming up with more of this. Now, the
Yes.
Rockets gave up 10, but the Mavericks draft 1, Spurs draft 2. Wednesday night. We'll be there in 48 hours.
Yeah, I love the return for Houston. Obviously, Houston had all the leverage. They didn't have to give up any of the Phoenix picks back. They still have Phoenix's pick in 2027 and 2029. A lot can happen by then, but Phoenix is kind of, up the creek without a paddle, as you say, and they're kind of a bad drafting team too. So, I mean, who they pick at 10, I have no faith is going to make their team any better.
Yeah.
So they have all their picks. They still have Brooklyn's pick in 2027 from the James Harden trade. They still have a 2029. In 2029, Houston will get the 2 of the 3 best picks between Houston, Phoenix, and Dallas. And I think that Houston and Dallas are going to be worse or Phoenix and Dallas are going to be worse than Houston by then. So they have a ton of draft capitals to still use. And by the time Kevin Durant's coming off the books, Amen Thompson is going to be 25. Şengün's going to be like 27. So once KD, basically my point is they have bridged the timeline very well where once KD is kind of wrapping things up and his money comes off the books, all of a sudden your guys are in their prime and you have a ton of cap space, and Houston is an attractive NBA market for players because of the taxes, and it's just a good city for an NBA player to be in. So I think Houston is set up very well.
And we sit right in the middle of all that, and I think it's going to be fun to watch all 3 with Wemby, with Cooper Flagg now.
Games at the Moody Center.
Yeah, and then Houston. And I'm glad to see KD back with Royale Ivy. That's cool and a lot of fun. We'll try to get Royale on the show at some point because he and Nick Shuley are our music insiders. They're great buddies. They were roommates in college. So we'll try to connect those dots at some point when we get a chance to.
Houston has a chance also to do something that some of these other teams, like if the Spurs had landed him, for example, the Heat obviously now in a completely decimated East. Who's going to win that next year? That feels like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, now Tyrese Halliburton's out in the East.
The Western Conference Finals is the NBA Finals next year.
Well, the East is, Jason Tatum's hurt. Dame Lillard's hurt.
Cavs next.
And is Giannis going to get traded? I mean, that'll be the next big shoe to drop.
If I'm Giannis, I'm saying trade me to the Heat or somewhere in the East.
Leave me in the East.
I can cakewalk through this thing. But with the Rockets, you can kind of ease Kevin Durant into this. There's no reason that he should ever play a back-to-back. His defensive workload is going to be much diminished when you look at who Houston has defending wings with Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith, and Tari Eason still there. I just think it's a perfect scenario. There's no reason to, KD can do whatever he wants in the regular season. It's just, is he healthy?
Come postseason.
Yeah,
you're going to try to put him on a pitch count. It's like when Roger Clemens came to the Astros back in the day at the end. I mean, let him kind of come in halfway and get him ready for the postseason. All right, we'll do the good, the bad, and the ugly. NBA and Thunder are the champs. Kevin Durant's a Rocket. Also in college baseball, the good has to be LSU, who finished off that 2-game sweep of Coastal Carolina yesterday afternoon in Omaha. 5-3 win over the Chanticleers. LSU knocked the previously unbeaten Coastal ace Jacob Morrison out of the game with a 4-run 4th inning, just stringing hits together, handing that baton, and the Tigers have won their 2nd national championship in the past 3 seasons. Their 8th all-time as a program, at his 2nd all-time to USC. And how about the Southeastern Conference, Jack? The conference has won 6 straight national titles. This is the first different team. 5 different teams had won it, including LSU. Now LSU's won 2 in 3 years. That's the closest proximity to championships in college baseball since South Carolina went back-to-back back in 2010, 2011, if memory serves. But for the SEC, that's 11 college baseball championships in 16 years. And you cannot go far into this show. We got to get a timeout. But you cannot – what Kate Anderson did on Saturday night, the left-hander, who we previewed all week. I mean, they've got the best Friday night ace in college baseball. Jack, did you see this game on Saturday night? LSU scratched a run across in the 1st inning. And the lefty made it stand up. Complete game, 130-pitch shutout. How about coming out for the 9th inning after throwing 115 pitches? And we're talking about a guy who's going to be the first pick in the draft in July 13th.
Empty in the tank, man.
Oh, man. Put him back out there. And he went back out and got a complete game, 130-pitch shutout. That was bad. That was some great stuff. And listen to his coach, Jay Johnson, who's got 2 championships in 4 years now at LSU. Proud of his left-hander.
He's the best pitcher in college baseball. We had the best pitcher on the planet 2 years ago in a similar situation, and I felt like Cade's had a very similar season to that, and that's how you get here. And I'm really proud of him, and I think the commonality between the two is the person, the character, the toughness, the team first attitude, and you're probably right. I mean, his next pitch should be for some place in the Washington Nationals organization.
All right, so there you go. His next pitch should be as a professional. And maybe because of what he just did to carry them to the championship, like Paul Skeens did a couple years ago, go ahead and shut him down till winter ball. You know what I mean? If the Nationals draft him, then they don't rush him into the minors. Go ahead and let him get ready for winter ball. But think about this, Jack. Paul Skeens led them to a national title 2 years ago and went 1-1 to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Cade Anderson might well do the same. Did you see the kid who closed the game out yesterday? The big 6'8", Chase Shores out of Midland, Texas, who was just mowing him down at 101. You don't think he's going to be a potential 1-1 at the top of a draft? Jay Johnson's doing a hell of a job at LSU because that dude, a lot of people thought Chase Shores, could be their Friday night starter before the season. He got off to a bit of a rough start. He's 6'8". He's got a lot of mechanics that he's got to work on. But, man, that guy came in. Once Coastal hit the home run to take it from 5-1 to 5-3, they brought in Chase Shores out of Midland, Texas. That guy, good night. You want to talk about bringing the country hardball, West Texas hardball. That guy was 101, 102. That was ridiculous. From 6'8", that's almost unhittable if he's locating. So that's the next big arm to come out of, I guess they got Ianson. I mean, they just have one hell of a pitching staff, and that's what, Jim Schlossnagle and Max Wiener are trying to build at Texas. They had a pretty good one this year until Jared Spencer got hurt. But, yeah, that's the key. When you can go into every weekend and you have Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson and then Chase Shores to close it, that's how you win series. That's how you win games. That's how you stack victories. And then you stay in the winner's bracket in these, 4-team regionals. And, Texas had that recipe, and we'll get into this coming up in Horns at Half Past. When they had Jared Spencer and then Luke Harrison and then Dylan Volantis closing games, you had that. Then Spencer got hurt, and it just threw everything out of whack. They could never recover, and obviously went 4-6 in their last 10 games. And LSU, though, hit the accelerator. They looked like a team all year that could win the national championship, either them or Arkansas. And then they survived Arkansas in that, in the divisional side and in Omaha, and here they are. They're second in 2 years.